Q-Card slammed a top-class field in this year's Betfair Chase, but with connections of Dinast, Silviniaco Conti and Long Run all fancying their chances of turning the form around in the King George at Kempton, the Christmas showpiece is shaping up to be a real cracker. And that's before factoring in the top-class Alpha Off, who made a winning reappearance at Ascot last month.
Alpha Off returns to action with a win. He's still relatively unexposed, only a 16th start under rules.
Yeah, very good reappearance. He'd been off for injury for a year. It was obviously going to be always going to be our prep race for the King George. He's probably 80% ready at that stage, but he had a nice run round, jumped exuberant, did him the world of good. He's come on for that, and we've really got stuck into him since then. So hopefully he'll be, very nearly his best.
He was off for a long time, but it wasn't a particularly serious injury, was it?
It was just a niggle. It was just enough to stop him. We just felt he was such a good horse. It was no point taking any chances. Just give him time and get it right and come back, and that's where we are now.
And stepping up to 3 miles, any concern?
I don't see a bit of problem. He won a 3 mile point to point. He won the Paddy Power Gold Cup last year, 2 mile 5 on very testing ground. Stayed on strongly. I think 3 mile will probably bring out the best of him. He's by Dumolko, they all stay. He's very versatile. Wouldn't want it too quick. That would be the only proviso I would have said, but he's quite versatile. Ground isn't such an issue to him.
You've also got Silviniaco Conti in the race.
Yeah, he ran very well last week, 2 weeks ago in the Betfair Chase at Haydock. Just the way he ran just looked like he might improve for the run. He travelled really well, looked like he was going to be dangerous to it, and then just got a little tired. He's come on for that run as well. For whatever reason, this month, 6 weeks, a lot of the horses were still carrying too much condition for me. It just took to now to get them really, really where I want them. But that's no harm, He's had a nice run, and he's in good shape,
So how hopeful would you be of reversing the form with Q-Card and Dinast?
Hopefully, every chance I think has come on enormously for a run, which ours seem to have done this year. Q-Card had a run, and obviously benefited from it, so we've got to live in hope. Different track, different day. Got to be very hopeful. I think he's a lot sharper and fitter than he was the other day.
And last year you deliberately avoided the King George, went straight to Cheltenham. Why go for the race this year?
Well, he'd run in the Charlie Hall last year, so it was one race extra, and we were just minding him for Cheltenham. Purposely decided not to go to the Charlie Hall, use the Betfair as a stepping stone. And I've done that before. I mean, Cordo Star ran in the Betfair Chase before he won the King George the 1 year, sort of needing the run. He just hung on, but he won, and then improved enormously from there to Kempton and won very well. So I'm hoping to get the same sort of result,
And jockey bookings, anything been decided yet?
Darryl will ride Alpha Off. He rode him the other day. That was always going to be in the plan, and I assume if Noel is available, Noel will ride Silviniaco Conti. If Noel's not available, then obviously I'm going to be asking Sam, but I mean, I'd be surprised if Noel didn't ride him.
Very, very pleased with the way he ran, taking on the big boys for the first time and being able to compete, and he ran a great race. There were no excuses on the day, and we were very, very proud of the way he performed.
Q-Card had the benefit of a run already this season. Dinast was going there fresh. Do you think perhaps now coming to Kempton, now he's had that run under his belt, you could see a fitter horse?
It's hard to say that way. He was as fit as we could have got him at home. David was very, very happy with him, and he looked fantastic. There is always, I believe, a difference between when they've had a run and afterwards. Q-Card had obviously run in the Holden Gold Cup, and the way he improved from the Holden Gold Cup on to the Betfair Chase, was all credit to the horse. We're hoping we'll improve, but we're going to have to improve from our Betfair run. But we're very, very happy with him. We've had a clear run with him, and just looking forward to taking on the challenge again. He's obviously handled the course and distance before, which always gives you great confidence. He put a fantastic performance in winning the Felton last year in a very, very good time. But again, he's going to have to step up again to win the King George. But we know what we've got. We're very, very happy with him, and really looking forward to the challenge.
Do you see him more as a King George horse than perhaps a Gold Cup horse?
I do at the moment. No, he's just a very, very good horse. I'm not worried whether King George's Gold Cups. It's nice that he's good enough to be mentioned in that sort of breath, as it were. But wherever he goes, each place will have its unique set of challenges. The main thing that is consistent is that he's a very, very good horse, and that he'll cope with whatever we ask him.
And 12 months ago, Long Run won in a real slog. If conditions did deteriorate, would bad ground be a concern for you?
No, he's won on everything. He's won on the heavy. He's won on good ground. My only concern is whether anything can run faster at the end.
He came out of Haydock very well, and he seems to have an empathy with Kempton. I mean, he's now run there for the last 4 consecutive years. I mean, he ran as a 4-year-old in the and won the Grade 1 Feltham Novice Chase. And then, he would have been a 5-year-old, except it was just shoved in 3 weeks late because of frost, if you recall. He won the King George the following year. Then he came up against a horse who, unfortunately, many people have found rather challenging, the King George, in Corto Star, and came second. And then he won again last year. So on 4 trips there, he's had, in the Grade 1s, 3 wins and a second. And so to the extent that there are horses for courses, Kempton seems to be a course where he really shines.
I don't see that. I don't see that he's lost his edge. He's just got a bit wily and a little bit lazier and more. And lazy is probably an unfair sort of comment because it suggests sort of lack of enthusiasm or something. But he's not that at all. He's full of beans. If you'd seen him this morning, he was jumping and kicking. I really don't think that he should be written off.
You couldn't fault his jumping at Haydock. It was really good, and he has been known to make the odd blip, but he's now run a great many times and won a great many races, and many of them he's also made a blip. And it now seems, from the Haydock running, no horse could jump better. I'm rather hoping that there's some really strong front-running 2 or 2.5 mile horses will go that kind of pace because he's very happy at that pace. And what seems to happen as a routine is, having set the pace and made a really fast pace, they get to about the 3rd last, as happened last year, and they can't quite get home over the last 2. What happened last year was Long Run had this great battle, and when he thought by coming to the second last he'd won it because everything else had fallen away, and really almost started pulling himself up. And Sam had to sort of say, "Hang on a minute, there's this horse, Captain Chris, coming up on the inside, quite a long way away from you," and took him all the way across the course to reintroduce him to another challenger who he'd sort of rather hoped or forgotten was even. I mean, the horse had, rather than Sam, wasn't there. And as soon as he saw there was his horse going rather well in front of him, he showed enormous courage to peg him back again.
And who do you see as the ones to beat this year?
It has to be Q-Card, doesn't it? And Dynast. The obvious two, they both ran outstandingly well in Haydock. Q-Card was a revelation. I didn't think he'd stay that trip. The Tizard team proved us comprehensively wrong. And Dynast is also a horse that's shone at Kempton. He won the Feltham in great order. So I think those two are the two that you've got to really find a little extra to get in front of.
His recent form wouldn't suggest it. Of course it wouldn't. And I'd be silly if I said it was. But at 20-1, and on his homework and all the sorts of stuff we've seen of him at home, and the fact that we know basically why he didn't perform in his last 2 runs, then absolutely, there's no real reason to think that he can't. He loves Kempton.
I know that this is an occasion hosted by William Hill, but they just pushed him out today from 16-1 to 20-1. I should hammer him.